You bring up in the book that women can get the honeys. They can become...
yeah, I bring up because, in improv, when you first start out as a woman, a lot of times you fall into the honey roles of like, honey, I brought you coffee, while you're letting all the guys are doing all the fun stuff. You're like, honey, we have to go to that party soon. And then you like get off stage while the guys have all the fun. So like, that's your first thought to do is like, I'm the chick in the scene. But then instead, once you lose that, you get way better because then you step out into the action and you're not just pouring imaginary coffee.
And but what's interesting is probably Gilda had to go through the same way. And you remind me, Gilda, in the way of you will fully commit to a character.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks. You'll go to a place where a lot of women, I think, would go, well, if I do that, I'm not,
I don't know, because I was with like Tina and Amy, and so they're all like that too. So right. I'm definitely not like, yes, I'm fantastic. I mean, it's just that was sort of, I saw the women that did well. Like Amy Sedaris was a role model of mine because she was up there. She's this cute little chick, and she'd be up there like with buck teeth, and I mean, she was just crazy. So she was like a really good example to be watching. It's a really interesting thing though, because people will say like, well, you're not going to believe this, but I find Amy Sedaris attractive. You know what I mean? Like, so because she plays so many crazy things, it almost seems like an odd thing to say the obvious, that she's really attractive. She is, yeah. But because she does that, it takes away from our normal men-women roles. That's true, yeah. Yeah. And you have to give something up, I guess, when you commit to those kind of characters. I guess so, but you're not really thinking that. You're not like, I hope I still look feminine. You're just, trying to get a laugh or something like that. But it's all the things that your mom wanted you to do,
true.
Right?
Okay, that's very true, because when I was on SNL, my mom would be like, can't you just play the normal girl? I'd have like an arm coming out of my head. Right. My mom was not into that character.
Your mom really, your mom wants you to be Laura Petrie. Like, be the nice, saying, honey, come in here.
Exactly. To me, coming up with characters is sort of like, I couldn't just sit there and come up with something like staring at the computer. I had to just have an idea in life and then bring it in. So I felt almost like I had no control over, how many characters I could think up a year, because it just had to be some weird, like, the Muses thing. Maybe other people are just like, oh yeah, I got a million characters. I mean,
So you would actually wait for just somehow it would come into your consciousness.
Yeah, or like observe something that happened and then be like, oh, that might make a good scene, that kind of thing.
And build on it.
Yeah.
And what is it when you have that character, like a Debbie Downer, where the next day everybody starts doing your character? I mean, that was one that just happened like that.
Well, that was kind of, again, like maybe two things helped that scene. One is that, I mean, you try not to laugh when you're on camera there, because it's such a cheap laugh. The audience loves when you crack up. So I'd always try not to, but we completely lost it in that first scene. So that was one thing people were talking about, like how much we broke in that scene. And then the other thing is, like, people seem to know someone like that character. A lot of people come up to me still and say, oh, my mother's just like that, or my sister's. So I think the crack up made it more like, did you see that scene on SNL? Because everyone loves when you laugh.
Beauty of that character is that no one knows that they are her, and no one knows how universal that's in every family of someone who's just so fucking joyless that they will just suck all the oxygen out of every place that they are.
Yeah, they're out there. Yeah. Wah wah. Yeah.
But so that's got to be thrilling when something like that takes off for you, right? When
Yeah, I mean,
boom.
It is, but then, you're there on Monday, you got to write another scene that way. So you don't think like, I've made it, let me rest on my laurels. Because also, you do it once, you don't know if it's going to happen again, whatever. Then it's just strange. Like, you just kind of have to live in the moment there, sort of. But